Greetings. Hello to everybody. Just wanted to take a little bit of time here to show you how to make some boots and some shoes for your gnomes. A number of people have been asking about that lately, whether they're doing the going into autumn gnomes or witches, Santa gnomes. These are some quick, simple shoes to make. They're from the Dollar Tree. They're baby shoe favors. And I get quite a few of these and use a lot of them with my gnomes. So I'm just going to show you how to put them together. And you can use any type of material. I'm actually going to just use some felt here, but this was a upholstery material that I used. I actually used some burlap too, which is really good come into the fall season here if you're doing scarecrows to put together. A little bit harder to work with the burlap, but you got a lot of different options there. And what I do is I start out with, I'm doing the felt, I take my 9x12 piece of felt, they're pretty standard there, 9x12, and I fold it over. Now, I'm gonna need about 2 inches. So I'm gonna measure that out 2 inches, 2 inches by 6 inches. So 2 inches by 6 inches, I've already made a template for myself, cut that out. So I'm just gonna put that on there and cut that out so I have my 2 inches by 6 inches. This is to wrap around the shoe. It actually takes right around 5.5 to 5 3/4, but I like to have just a little bit extra so I can have something. I'd rather have that than trying to stretch it. Now that I've got that cut out, I'm going to cut this in half. And that'll give me my 2 pieces for my shoes. So I can make 2 shoes out of that. We're going to set that aside for just a moment here, because I'm going to show you how to do the bottom of the shoes too, because you're going to want to cover this up here. Again, you're going to take the same felt that you have. You're going to put the shoe down here. And you can either trace around it or cut around it. I have templates I've already made, but I'm just going to show you for purposes here. Just hold the shoe down, cut around it. Doesn't have to be perfect exact. We're going to do a little bit of trimming at the end, but I want to, close to what I have there. And as I said, I've made a template for it, so I can just go back and do it over again and again. But I want to cut around the shoe so I have a base there for my shoe. We'll place that aside. And I'm just going to need one of these because I'm just going to build one shoe here to show you. And how we're going to do that is I'm going to take my hot glue gun. And before I even get into that, let me fill it up here. We want to put something in here for weight because it's going to be on the bottom there. And one of the things I also do, just to show you, I put together the whole gnome before I do the shoes. I want to have something all constructed. That way I have something that I know is going to be its own weight to put on there. So I'm going to fill it. It doesn't matter what you fill it with. Different people are going to tell you they use pellets, they use pebbles, they use rice, whatever. I'm using the rice here because this is usually the best thing for training, best thing for new people here too. Then what I do, in order to seal that in there, I take electrical tape. And you can take duct tape, whatever you'd like to do to cover that, but electrical tape works pretty well. And again, something you can pick up at the Dollar Tree. And I cut off a 2-inch strip. 2 inch will just wrap around there nicely to hold that in there. And I'll usually take like 2 strips just to make sure I got everything sealed in there. That gives me a nice base for my shoe there too. I got weight, but I also have something I can glue down too. So now let's start the gluing process. I'm going to start with the back here, the heel, and I'm going to do a straight line, just a nice thin straight line, and then curve it a little bit towards me here so I can start my turnaround there. I'm going to take one of my strips here, line it up. I want to line it up with the bottom of the shoe and just press it on down there. And then once I have that in place, I'm just going to follow the shoe around. I'm going to put a light I'm not going to go a lot. I'm going to put it up a little bit. I don't want the glue to be dripping out over the bottom part of the shoe at all. Again, I'm lining up this ridge here with the bottom of the shoe. And I'm just going to follow it all the way around. We're at the toe here. Let's bring it around. And then when I get to the back side here, I'm going to leave just a little bit here. Because I said I left a little bit extra on the felt. So with the extra on the felt, I have about a 1/2 inch. I can cut that off. As I said, I'd rather have a little extra than trying to stretch it at the very end. And I try not to waste a lot either, but I can live with about 1/2 inch there. And here, I'm actually going to glue on the felt here, just to add a little bit lightly so I can glue it down to the back of the shoe, or you could just put the glue on the back of the shoe there. Let me glue that down. So, once I've got that on there, I'm going to add a dot of glue to the inside toe. And then I'm going to go around the inside about a 1/4 inch down and just run the glue ever so lightly. This is going to help hold it together when you fold it in. But you don't want to put too much and you don't want to get it too high, or else you're going to be getting it on your fingers. Now at the toe, I'm going to bend that in. Just take my finger, bend that in, and then fold in one side, and then fold in the other. Now the glue that I put around the edges there is going to help hold it together, and I'm going to push it in inside the shoe. Again, it doesn't have to quite be 2 inches high, but pretty close to the 2 inches, just so you do have the overlap there. I don't want to have to stretch things out. I want to be able to cover. And from here, I can add things now. I can add little flowers to it. I can add a little bit of ribbon going around the side if I want. I've also done this where I've matched the coat, put some sort of lace into it on there. That'll give you a boot. Again, this is the same thing you could do with the upholstery. Just wrap the upholstery around there, make the bottom for it. We're going to glue the bottom on here now. And I start out, I do it just on the inside. I don't go all the way to the edge, but just on the inside a little bit. And I'll glue around the top here, and then put some in the center. And then I'll put the piece that I cut out over top of that and press it down. Press it to the edges there. Going to have a little bit of overlap, which is fine because I want to trim it, but I want to make sure I got everything right to the edges there for me. And then I'm going to lift up the back here and glue this back side down here. And the reason I don't do it all at once is so if I can get it in place, and also if I'm putting glue all around it, and if it starts to dry, then I don't have things sealed right. So I put some right there at the end there, and push it on there, let it dry. I look to see where I have my little bit of overhang, and here's where I'm going to just peel that off. So now that I have both my shoes, I've put some weight in the bottom here. I'm going to take the shoes and I'm actually going to glue them together. It makes it easier to put your gnome together if they're just one piece. If you're trying to glue one shoe on at a time, it's going to be a little bit harder for balance, but this way if you glue them together, it's one piece of balance there. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the side here. Again, not too much, just enough on the side here that I can bring the two together. Bring them up toe to toe here, hold them together here for a few moments. If you put too much, you're going to be dribbling down the back there, or you're going to down in the very bottom there, and you're going to glue it to the table. Gluing it to the table is not a good thing, because then you have your gnome in just one position and can't move your gnome any other place. So we're going to just hold that together here for a moment, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to fill in the inside. Again, what you're going to do is you're going to take whatever you're using as filler, and we're going to put it in there insides here just to help level it off. You might have to push down just a little bit. And then once we get that, we clean them up a little. So here we have them filled, they're weighted. I'll take my gnome and I'll actually position it on the shoes just to get an idea where I'm going to want it, just to see that I got the balance too. I want to make sure I have those toes to the front, right just underneath the front lip, where the gnome is sewn together here, or bends, or if you have a sock, where it goes there. And the shoes are back just a little bit, as I said, so the toes are just underneath there, so that'll help hold it on there. Now, I take my glue, and again, I'm gluing on the insides of the rims here. I don't want to glue outside. If I'm getting glue out dripping down the outside, it's going to drip down the side of the shoe. And I pretty much want to fill that whole shoe in. Hold your glue gun up just a little bit so you're not getting, attached to your filler there. And you can see the glue is settling in there. So now I'll take my gnome. And again, I want to line up so the toes are underneath the belly there. And I'm going to hold it here for a moment. Again, we're talking, it's going to be getting the weight there. It's going to be the support. You want the gnome to be able to stand on its own. And then once I've given it a few moments, I'm going to let it be by itself for a little bit. It's got enough support. It's sturdy enough. I like to add accessories to the side. I'm going to add little things to go along with my Santa Claus and everything. That'll give it more stability too, to help hold it up. But once it's dry and everything, that's when I like to add little extras too. Here, I added these before I put the boots on, but I could have easily done this after I did the boots to add the trim. Just like the coats, I do the trim afterwards. So I could do the trim on the boots afterwards. You can also add little flowers, accessories. This is where the fun part gets in. This is the basic, how to make the shoe, just put it to get it together there, and how to attach it to the gnome. From there, I know you guys are going to do a great job. I know there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to be able to see coming out with the shoes on them that are just going to be beautiful. We have a lot of people doing some great lace work on them, putting bows on them. The shoes are just looking beautiful with the rest of the gnomes. And we're just coming together here into the holiday season and into the fall season here, and a lot of great stuff coming out throughout the group. And so I appreciate you guys' support. Love to see what you guys are doing, and I just hope that helps out.